Thank you very much. Okay, welcome everybody to Fairfield High School's Individual Speakers Night. We have qualified 18 performances for state competition, and you'll see 10 of those tonight. Several of our students are double entered, and to keep it a manageable show, we said, okay, just choose one of the two that you'll do. And beyond that, we have one student who's sick and resting a voice, and one who's just plain scared. So, and you can all figure out who that person is. So, tonight we'll have several different performances, starting off with acting, Rachel Gbach.
And a young man has an appointment for a physical. In the waiting room with him are two older people, a very nice-looking, tidy, intelligent-looking couple, both probably in their 80s. Here to see the doctor, too. So the young man's sitting there, in his February state of mind, when the nice old man next to him nudges him and says, "Hey, Merry Christmas." And the poor young man says, "Merry Christmas," back to him. Then the old man kicks back, takes a deep breath, and begins singing, "Santa Claus is coming to town." Finishes the song all the way through, then announces to the entire waiting room, "Hey, Merry Christmas." Well, the nurse comes for him and he goes off. The old man's wife, seeing the young man's eyes roll, feels compelled to enlighten him. "We've been married for 60 years, and Fred's 87 now. And well, in our family we say, his wiring's coming loose. He's had a few little strokes, and there's some Alzheimer's. He's just getting old. And every once in a while, he suddenly announces, 'It's Christmas.' The first time he did it, I thought I was crazy. 'Cause he shouted from upstairs, 'Hey! It's Merry Christmas! Yang! Let's put up the tree!' It was so strange. I called our daughters and I told them what was going on. Well, they came over, and they brought him some presents, too. They said, 'For Pete's sake, Mother, it's not illegal.' Well, we had a wonderful time. And the best part of the whole affair was he said to me, 'You know, I can't remember some of the things when I was a child. Tell me about Christmas when I was a little boy.' He had a terrible childhood. His mother was a drunk. His father ran off. He was virtually orphaned, and he had to leave home when he was very, very young. I didn't want to tell him about that, so I did something that I have never done or thought I would do in 60 years with this man. I lied to him. I told him about the Christmas that he got a rocking horse, and the Christmas that he got a bicycle, and the Christmas that he was in the pageant. Oh, he loved it, and we had a wonderful time. One of the best Christmases that we've ever had, even if it was in July. And the strangest thing, long about bedtime, he forgot all about it. It simply left his mind, and we never did get to Christmas. Christmas Eve and good memories seemed to be enough. But a few months later, it happened, all over again. I heard him singing carols upstairs one morning, and here came Christmas down the stairs. "Merry Christmas!" And I thought, what harm? So this has happened 3 or 4 times now. In July and in October. Twice in December. And now in February. Each time he wants me to tell him about his childhood again, and I do. I'm getting so good at lying about how wonderful his Christmases used to be that I half believe it myself. I call the girls each time. Just say Merry Christmas into the phone, and here they come. They bring him presents and sing carols and bake cookies. The whole bit. Twice we've even got as far as putting up a tree. They love to do it. You see, for the girls, It isn't Christmas anymore. It's Father's Day. And I kind of think of it as Valentine's Day. Merry Christmas.
No? Okay. Rachel is one of our freshmen, and not only a freshman, but already an all-stater. Yeah, you can clap for that if you want to. That's a good thing. Part of the large group speech team that did so well this year. Andrew Carter is now going to do what they call spontaneous speaking. Spontaneous speaking is just a bad title for impromptu speaking. And that means that he's given a list of categories that he studies. And then he goes to contest and he draws 3 questions, picks one of them, takes a few minutes to collect his thoughts, and then answer the question. So this is sort of the serious side of improvisation. Sometimes there are political questions. How much time does he have to prepare?
3 minutes? Is that
3
right?
minutes.
Yeah, 3.
This would be a good time for a station break. Yeah, commercial. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, he'll be preparing for the next couple of minutes. And I don't know, what do you guys want to do? Okay, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have asked.
No, I put it back in the thing. It was,
Hard enough we could be here for a while.
Which one?
I can just tell it to you.
Pressing issue in education, Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge of Allegiance, okay. Give me that and I'll stand back there. And I'll just stand here for a second and look really short. Okay, are you all set? Okay, this is Andrew Carter, spontaneous speaking, and his question is, should the phrase "under God" be kept in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Under God is spoken at least once or twice throughout this thing. Now, I don't know about you, but I remember all throughout middle school having to say this every single day. I was asked to say it once this afternoon, possibly just by chance, but I couldn't remember it. At all. After a while it came back to me, but I have to say I'm kind of thankful. There are a lot of things to consider here about whether or not that those 2 words should be taken out. There's the huge matter of disrespect to people who do have other beliefs, the matter of honor in those situations, the importance of the diversity of our religious country, and the modern issues that affect it, especially with our recent terrorist problems. I'm going to go through each one of these and tell you what I think about them, and hopefully you'll understand. First of all, the disrespect. Honestly, I don't understand how anyone can think it's okay to make a child say that. Forcing someone, I mean, it's not necessarily a direct correlation or relation to God. It's just something that was written, whatever it may be, 100 or 200 years ago, that really doesn't have any religious affliction now. It's really a meaningless couple words as far as the Pledge of Allegiance goes. But still, forcing someone to say that, someone could take it personally. There's a huge matter of embarrassment with that. I want to ask how many of you, if you were, say, a foreign exchange student in a country we're all on pretty good terms with, say France or something, now France is mostly Catholic, but take a step back here. If at the beginning of the school day you had to pledge allegiance to their flag, and there was a statement, "under Allah," or something of that sort, you would be embarrassed. You would probably go along with it, most likely. In fact, I'm sure you would, simply because, well, peer pressure. It's a joke. We think of it as being ridiculous, but it's a simple truth. Peer pressure controls all of us. If you're surrounded by people making this statement, you're going to say it, no matter what it means to you, no matter how horrible you may feel about saying it. And this goes directly along with the matter of honor. If you make that statement under Allah, or I pledge my life to Allah, that's not good, simply. If you have no belief in that, and you're making the statement, it may be an oath, you're going to feel horrible, and you're going to feel like you're disrespecting their culture by making that statement. Another important thing is the importance of diversity in this country. There are so many religions in America, but honestly, this is a Christian nation, simply. The majority of this nation is Christian, so we don't take these sort of things into consideration. But I personally know a lot of people who take quite a bit of objection to making statements like this in school, who take it personally, because it means something to them, and they don't like having to express that. I can't say exactly how it feels because I don't know. I'm not in a religious minorities of sorts. But that's the important thing about the diversity of this country. We don't have to always understand how the person feels, we just have to respect it and allow for those differences, no matter how different they may be or how much we don't understand them. Then there are modern issues like Iraq. This country is very self-righteous. It's not necessarily bad. Nationalism is a good thing in most respects. But as of late, this country has been so religious and so unified, mostly under the Christian God, that it really is quite infuriating to some people that I know personally. Like, say, these terrorists in Iraq or wherever they may be. They're going to take this sort of thing personally. If there's a statement by the president on television about the God from the Bible, people are going to be insulted by that and think that we're a holy nation fighting a war on them under what they believe to be blasphemy. So, overall, I think that under God and the Pledge of Allegiance should completely be removed. I don't think there's any question to that matter. I just hope that people can try to take a step back and accept differences of people and accept the fact that people really are insulted and people really do feel badly about things we would never consider.
Move it away, okay.
Get rid of it.
And we're getting rid of it.
And getting rid of it.
Alicia Hurd in interpretive reading poetry.
The Hollow Men by T.S. Eliot is a powerful poem that questions the reason for man's existence by building images that question the existence of time, place, and mood. T.S. Eliot's poem, The Hollow Men. We are the hollow men. We are the stuffed men, leaning together, headpiece filled with straw. Alas, our dried voice, when we whisper together, are quiet and meaningless, as wind in dry grass, or rat's feet over broken glass in our dry cellar. Shape without form, shade without color, paralyzed force, gesture without motion. Those who have crossed direct eyes into death's other kingdom. Remember us, if not at all as lost violent souls, but only the stuffed men. Eyes I dare not meet in dreams. In Death's dream kingdom, these do not appear. There the eyes are sunlight on a broken column. There is a tree swinging, and voices are in the wind singing, more distant and more solemn than a fading star. Let me be no nearer in Death's dream kingdom. Let me also wear such deliberate disguises. Rat's coat, crow skin, cross stabs in a field, behaving as the wind behaves. No nearer. Not that final meeting in the death twilight kingdom. This is the dead land. This is the cactus land. Here the stone images are raised. Here they receive the supplication of a dead man's hand under the twinkle of a fading star. Is it like this in death's other kingdom? Walking alone at the hour when we are trembling with tenderness. Lips that would kiss form prayers to broken stone. The eyes are not here. There are no eyes here in this valley of dying stars, in this hollow valley, this broken jar of our lost kingdom. In the last of meeting places, we group together and avoid speech, gathered on this beach of the timid river, sightless, unless the eyes reappear as a perpetual star, multifoliate rows of death's twilight kingdom, the hope only of empty men. Here we go round the prickly pear, prickly pear, prickly pear. Here we go round the prickly pear at 5 o'clock in the morning. Between the idea and the reality, between the motion and the act, falls the shadow. For thine is the kingdom. Between the conception and the creation, between the emotion and the response, falls the shadow. Life is very long. Between the desire and the spasm, between the potency and the existence and the descent, falls the shadow. For thine is the kingdom. For thine is, life is, for thine is the, this is the way the world ends. This is the way the world ends. This is the way the world ends. Not with a bang, but a whimper.
Knowing how horribly depressing that poem is. And it's supposed to be, it's a dramatic interpretation there. I put it early so that hopefully we can shake it off a little bit before we leave.
Yeah, we still have darkness in the front.
Yeah, darkness is going to show up and we'll have the end of the world too. So, I mean, but I tried to split them out. I didn't want everybody to get horribly depressed all at once. So next we have Sarah Rum, storytelling. Now, she'll be choosing a chair. In the category of storytelling, it's an artificial construct that we use just for contest. The storyteller has to sit on a stool. I forgot to bring the stool. So she's going to sit on a chair. Now we know that storytellers walk around and do all sorts of different things, but this is the one thing that separates storytelling from acting at contest, because actors are running around and doing all of these different things, and the storytellers, we say, okay, you got to be stationary right there and make a connection with the audience. So step right up and make that connection. Is this height okay? You'll be able to see her? All right.
Would everyone prefer a sit or a slight half squat?
Whatever makes you comfortable.
I'm comfortable. Hello, I'm the narrator. Not to be confused with a narrator, which I think is just a silly generic term for just random storytellers. I am known throughout the world for my wonderful stories. My fellow story writers, who I'm afraid they're a little bit jealous of me, they bestow such distasteful names upon me as Miss Etiquette, or as they wrongfully pronounce it, Miss Etique. I never fail to correct them, which only escalates their slight dislike for me. But anyway, I'm here to tell you about my stories. I tend to write them in the style of the great Aesop, who wrote wonderful stories about how we should live together and life lessons to learn. Well, some of my stories like these include Cinderella or The Princess and the Pea, and naturally I have to have people to act these out so that they actually go into history, because when you just write them, they don't go into history, they just happen. But anyway, so to find these people, I have my talent recruiter find the best young people to play these parts. Oh, Cinderella was such a sweet girl and so talented, and I usually get just the cream of the crop. But then there are others, like Goldilocks. Oh, she was a winner, let me tell you. My talent recruiter actually found her living outside of a dumpster. No, not in a dumpster. She got evicted after she threw a party that blew the electricity for 6 blocks. Oh, yes. What a girl. I brought her to my etiquette school to learn how to become a proper young lady, because she was to take part in a lovely little story I wrote about a young girl who goes to visit a bear family and then convinces the young bear to go and join the Peace Corps. Well, that didn't happen. She told me a day before the story was to take place that she was going to scope out the joint, as she so delicately put it. Well, I, being the reasonable soul that I am, assumed that she was going over with batches of mint potpourri to spread about the bear's home in a welcoming gesture. Because, as we all know, scope is very strong mint-scented. And actually, it's also a very important part of your dental hygiene, you know. And scope is a wonderful brand, but if you go to Walmart, there's a $2.99 Equate version that's Anyway, apparently scope out the joint was some sort of nasty derogatory term that I was not familiar with. So she went over and she did a B&E, which is breaking and entering for you. And she ruined their furniture, ate them out of house and home, and slept in their bed, which caused massive damage to them. I mean, she was so skinny. She had these elbows that were like sabers, and she slept in this bed, and when she got out, I kind of thought of it as a personification thing, you know, where you give an object feelings, you know? The springs would be like one of those South American soccer announcers just going, "Rah!" And did she have the common decency to simply strip the bed, wash the sheets, dry them on a fresh, just laundry string out in the fresh wind to give it a meadow scent, bring it back in the house, iron it, put it back on the bed, fold it neatly, and put a little Andes chocolate mint on the pillow? But no! She just waited for the bears to get home, and then they came home, and they were a little miffed. They were just a little angry. I don't see why. I would be happy to have my springs going. So I did the only reasonable thing for that girl. Yep, I sent her to a Spanish monastery. And there she stayed until she was kicked out of that joint. And it was for this. Well, she had a slight little acne problem, this girl did. And one of the monks came up to her and said, "What's wrong with your face?" And she said, "It's looking at you, that's what's wrong with it." So then he sent her to her room. And I don't know why there were telephones in this room, but she managed to convince the entire Las Vegas showgirl line that Tom Jones was on tour in Spanish monasteries. And here comes Las Vegas. And they come in and the monks just run for the hills. I don't know where she went after that. Nope. But, anyway, back to my stories. I'm working on some new ones. I mean, they're just lovely. I'm actually thinking about having the Frog Prince have this, like, terrible boating accident where he falls in a river and... You're not listening to me anymore, are you? I see. I get it. Yeah, once I stop talking about little Goldilocks and how exciting that is, you just look at the floor and you look at the wall, because you don't want to look at me anymore. Oh no, I'm too boring for you. So you just space out, and you know what? I'm not going to take it anymore. I'm done.
I'm not sure, but I think Sarah is on a quest to bring improv into as many categories as possible. It certainly worked last year when she, along with the help of someone you're about to see next, threw together an after-dinner speech which went all the way to Allstate. I take no credit for that. I just kind of let it happen. Now for something entirely different. Huh?
Not so much.
Oh, I think it's pretty entirely different. But we'll just let you perform it and let these kind people decide whether it's completely different or not. Sam Garles, in acting, do you need this chair?
I want the other one.
Oh, certainly.
It looks more limber. In the Profession by Walter Wykes, Eugene is a normal man training for an extremely boring job. He doesn't even know who his boss is. One day he asks for a clue to find out who his boss is, and he's given an orange. Through this orange, he discovers the identity of his boss, the mysterious fruit fly, as he is known. One day, orange in hand, he goes to attempt to discover the location of fruit fly, during which he is accosted by a hobo in the street. The Profession by Walter Wykes. No! Stay back! Stay back! No, don't touch me! I can defend myself if I have to. I can be terribly vicious. What are you doing? What? Hey, I'm talking to you. Moon pie. Moon pie, that's what, your name? It's a code name, isn't it? You're an agent of the Profession. They've sent you to hunt me down, to drag me back. Well, I'm not going, do you hear me? I'm not going. I've had enough of it. You might as well just move on to your next victim. What are you doing? Fruit fly. Fruit fly! Fruit fly! What did you say? Fruit fly. Where did you hear that? This one. You're fruit fly? But then you're him. You're the one behind it all. But you can't be. You're an idiot. Moon pie! Moon pie! Moon pie! Moon pie! Moon Are you sure you're not one of them?
The eyes.
Yes, it is something about the eyes. Or do you mean my eyes are playing tricks on me?
The eyes, darkness, dream hole.
Ah, yes, well, that clears it up. Thank you. No, don't touch that! That's mine! My orange, mine! I'm sorry. I don't mean to be stingy. It's just that, well, I can't allow you to eat this orange. It's the key to everything. I know it doesn't make much sense. I don't quite yet understand it myself, but one has to have faith, you know, that, well, that everything will work out in the end. It must be nice to be a half-wit. A vagrant, I mean, a wanderer. You don't have to contemplate. If you're hungry, you eat. Everything's basic, primitive. No one to push you around or tell you what to do. Maybe I should join you. Maybe I should. I bet people don't even give you a second thought, do they? They probably cross the street when they see you coming. Yeah, that's it. I'll be an outcast. What? You don't think I could qualify? Well, I may not know much, but I've always thought of myself as living on the fringes. I'm an outlaw at heart. Once when I was 5 or 6, listen to this. Once when I was 5 or 6, I stole a whole handful of comic books from a retarded boy that lived down the street. Lifted them right under his nose. Well, I took them back the next day. But it's the thought that counts. I suppose a true outcast only takes what he needs to survive. You probably have your own code of conduct. Like the samurai. But I could be an outcast. You could teach me. What is it, the shoes? You're right, shoes are too mainstream. They might draw attention. Well, the shoes and the socks and what is it, the pants? Just tell me what to do. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. Only I don't have anything else to wear. I admit it's a bit dressy for your average outcast, but I could dirty it up a bit. If you properly place smudges and a rip here or there, I won't even recognize it. What, the tie, the coat, take it all. I don't need it anymore. Here, we can trade. You want to trade? Here, take these. I don't need them anymore. I feel much better now. Free. So this is what it's like to be an outcast. Well, I've certainly met all the requirements. I've given up all material possessions. Not all. You don't mean this, but it's not for material reasons that I'm keeping this. It's what the orange represents. Besides, why can't I have an orange? Where is it written that an outcast can't own a little piece of fruit? What? Your hand? Hand? Braille? Reading? Blind? Book? Handbook? No! There's no handbook. You're lying. You just want me to feel like I've been left in the dark. Well, I won't have it. Do you hear me? I won't have it. I refuse.
Refuse?
Yes, refuse. How do you like that?
Refuse. Refuse! Refuse! Refuse!
still think there's a handbook, huh? Well, if there is, then show it to me. If there's a handbook, then let me see it. Go ahead. Come on. You see? You can't. You can't show me because it doesn't exist. I have to see it with my own 2 eyes.
Darkness! Dream hole!
Oh, just shut up! Would you just shut up and stop babbling? I can't focus. I can't go on like this. I've got to.
I love that guy, but I never know what he's up to. And strange as it seems, that piece has gotten a lot better. I know you're saying, how can you tell? But especially playing to an audience, that piece works better. And I still think it's bizarre. Nolan Simmons would be here and doing his prose piece, but he's resting his voice. I heard him today, and he needs to rest his voice. So, you rest your voice now. So next up, I have another of our fearless freshmen here for acting, Noelle Weatherspoon.
Finally, after years of waiting, I get to read William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet in my freshman English class. Before our final test, a fellow student came to me, desperate for assistance. I agreed to help her. At our study session, I asked her to explain the story in her own words. I prefer the original text myself. 2 households, both alike in dignity, in fair Verona, where they are seen. From ancient grudge, break to new mutiny, where civil blood makes civil hands unclean. From forth the fatal loins of these 2 foes, a pair of star-crossed lovers take their life, whose misadventure piteous overthrows, doth with their death bury their parents' strife. Well, that's how it starts. Anyway, it's this really sad play about this dude Romeo and this chick Juliet, and their 2 families, the Capulets and the Montagues, who really hate each other. I mean, they can't even walk down the same street without picking a fight, because that's what happens right at the beginning. This one guy, Samson, who's a Capulet, runs into this other guy, Abraham, who's a Montague, and he bites his thumb. I mean, Samson bites his own thumb, not Abraham's thumb. Do you bite your thumb at us, sir? No, sir. I do not bite my thumb at you, sir. But I do bite my thumb, sir. Back in the olden days, biting your thumb was like saying, yo mama. So, they're fighting. And but it gets broken up by the prince. He's the principal of the town. And he tells them, yo, next time you get in each other's face, I'm gonna twist somebody's head around until their cap's on straight. 3 civil brawls, bred of an airy word, by the old Capulet and Montague, have thrice disturbed the quiets of our streets. If ever you disturb our streets again, your lives shall pay the forfeit of the peace. Then, Juliet's dad decides he's gonna throw this big party, and Romeo and his friends decide that they're gonna go crash it, which is easy, because it's a masquerade party and they all wear masks. At the same time, Juliet's mom is trying to fix her up with this guy named Paris. I mean, what kind of a name is Paris? Good thing he lives in Verona and not in England. Or wait, France? Anyway, he goes to the party and he sees Juliet and he's like, who is she? And then she sees him, he's like, who is that hump? Which is sad, because Shakespeare already said they got fatal loins, whatever that means. And what light through yonder window breaks. It is the east, and Juliet is the sun. Arise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon, who is already sick and pale with grief, that thou her maid art far more fair than she. Or something like that. And then she goes, oh, Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo? And it's like, duh, because he's standing right under her balcony. But maybe she took her contacts out to go to bed. So they talk about love and stuff, and then he asks her if she wants to get married, and she says yeah, so they do, but only in secret. And then right after they do, Juliet's pushy cousin Tybalt shows up again, because like, he didn't know that Romeo just married his cousin, because like, he didn't get an invitation or nothing, but like, he should be happy, because he didn't have to buy them an electric can opener or anything. But Tybalt, he wants to kill Romeo, and Romeo won't fight him. So instead, Tybalt jumps into Romeo's friend Mercutio's face, and him and Mercutio start fighting. And then Mercutio gets stabbed. 'Tis not as deep as the well, nor wide as a church door, but 'tis enough. 'Twill serve. Ask for me tomorrow, and you shall find me a grave man. A plague on both your houses. You have made worms meat of me. Your houses. And that makes Romeo mad, so he kills Tybalt. And then the prince exiles Romeo, which is like being grounded, but in a whole other state. And then Juliet is really bummed, because her parents really want her to marry that guy Paris, and she tells them no. And so her dad has a cow. Hang me, you baggage, disobedient wretch! I tell thee what, get thee to church on Thursday next, or never after look me in the face. Speak not, reply not, do not answer me. Even though she told him no, her parents are still planning this big wedding, so it looks like she's gonna get an electric can opener one way or another. So she goes to this priest guy, and he gives her this stuff to drink so that everyone will think she's dead until Romeo isn't grounded anymore. So she takes it, and everybody thinks she's dead, and they put her in this tomb thing. And then, back in Mantua, Romeo's man Balthazar comes and tells him that she's dead. So he runs to Verona, but on the way, he stops at a drugstore to get some poison. And like, so he misses this really, really important letter from the priest that says Juliet isn't dead. She's like, sleeping. So he runs to the tomb, and he breaks in, and he sees her there, and he takes the poison, and he dies. And then right after he does, she wakes up, and then she's like, I know where I'm supposed to be. There I am. So, yo, Romeo, homeboy, where you at? And then she looks down, and she sees him dead. She takes his dagger. She kills herself. And that's pretty much the end. Well, I guess the two families stopped fighting. I don't really care about that. It's such a sad play. I can't believe they make us read such a sad play. A gloomy peace the morning with it brings. The sun for sorrow will not show his head. Go hence to talk about these sad things. Some shall be pardoned, and some punished. For never was a story of more woe than this of Juliet and her Romeo.
She studied that play in my class. And apparently she could have taught it. Okay, next up then, poetry. Jessica Palmer.
Please excuse my somewhat colorful state. I will be presenting Darkness by Lord Byron. Darkness expresses Byron's opinion concerning the state, both political and social, of Great Britain in the early 1800s. Darkness is, in essence, Byron's prediction of what would happen should the world, specifically Great Britain, continue on with its current political policies. Corruption in society brought forth in darkness, and in Byron, an intensity and complete sadness capable of shocking and scaring a world. Darkness by Lord Byron. I had a dream, which was not all a dream. The bright sun was extinguished, and the stars did wander darkling in the eternal space, rayless and pathless, and the icy earth swung blind and blackening in the moonless air. Morn came and went, and came and brought no day, and men forgot their passions in the dread of this, their desolation, and all hearts were chilled into a selfish prayer for light, and they did live by watchfires, and the thrones, the palaces of crowned kings, the huts, the habitations of all things which dwell, were burnt for beacons. Cities were consumed, and men were gathered round their blazing homes to look once more into each other's face. Happy were those who dwelt within the eye of the volcano and their mountain torch. A fearful hope was all the world contained. Forests were set on fire, but hour by hour they fell and faded, and the crackling trunks extinguished with a crash, and all was black. The brows of men by the despairing light wore an unearthly aspect. As by fits, the flashes fell upon them. Some lay down and hid their eyes and wept, and some did rest their chins upon their clenched hands and smiled, and others hurried to and fro and fed their funeral piles with fuel, and looked up with mad disquietude on the dull sky, the pall of a past world. And then again with curses cast them down upon the dust, and gnashed their teeth and howled. The wild birds shrieked, and terrified did flutter on the ground and flap their useless wings. The wildest brutes came tame and tremulous, and vipers crawled and twined themselves among the multitude, hissing, but stingless. They were slain for food. And war, which for a moment was no more, did glut himself again. A meal was bought with blood, and each sate sullenly apart, gorging himself in the gloom. No love was left. All earth was but one thought, and that was death, immediate and inglorious, and the pang of famine fed upon all entrails. Men died, and their bones were tombless as their flesh. The meager by the meager were devoured. Even dogs assailed their masters, all save one. And he was faithful to a course, and kept the birds and beasts and famished men at bay, till hunger clung them, or the dropping dead lured their lank jaws. Himself sought out no food, but with a piteous and perpetual moan, and a quick, desolate cry, licking the hand which answered not with a caress. He died. The crowd was famished by degrees, but two of an enormous city did survive, and they were enemies. They met beside the dying embers of an altar place, where had been heaped a mass of holy things. For an unholy usage they raked up, and scraped with their cold, skeleton hands the feeble ashes, and their feeble breath blew for a little life, and made a flame, 'twas a mockery. Then they lifted up their eyes as it grew lighter and beheld each other's aspects, saw and shrieked and died. Even of their mutual hideousness they died, unknowing who he was upon whose brow famine had written fiend. The world was void. The populous and the powerful was a lump, seasonless, herbless, treeless, manless, lifeless, a lump of death, a chaos of hard clay. The rivers, lakes, and oceans all stood still, and nothing stirred within their silent depths. Ships, sailorless, lay rotting on the sea, and their masts fell down piecemeal. As they dropped, they slept on the abyss without a surge. The waves were dead. The tides were in their grave. The moon, their mistress, had expired before. The winds were withered in the stagnant air, and the clouds perished. Darkness had no need of aid from them. She was the universe.
There seems to be a serious interest in eschatology at Fairfield High School. Yes, that's the word you've been looking for, eschatology. Okay, you've already drawn? Yes. Oh, well, I was prepared to talk a little while this time, but that's okay then.
What is it?
Eschatology is a study that's concerned with the ultimate destination of mankind. We like to think of it as end-of-the-world literature. And so things like the hollow men and darkness fall right into that. Now, to hopefully cheer you back up, not that it's bad to be depressed and think about those serious things, but improvisation, again, one of those fearless categories where we'll just draw a couple of characters in a situation and go with it. And that's what Andrew's going to do now. He has chosen a superhero, a buzzsaw, and the situation is the final round of a dance marathon.
Welcome to continuing coverage of the 2003 Dance Marathon. Yes, that's right. 25.2 kilometers or miles of pure dancing. That's right. And let's go back to yesterday when we saw our competitors introduce themselves. Let's see. Hi. I'm Twinkletoes Man. I'm here to protect the defenseless, find a home for the homeless, and help all the sick people. Hey, Nolan, get well, buddy. But first, I'm gonna put me in a dance contest. And I'm gonna win this thing no matter what, because Twinkletoes Man always succeeds.
Hi. My name is Stuart. and well, this is my first time competing, so I'm kind of nervous. But I had some buddies of mine set up some boards so that I could just, like, you know, kind of school my way across.
Yes, that was yesterday. And so now you will see the continuous coverage as we go live to it right now. Darn buzzsaw, darn buzzsaw. Thinks he's so good, he thinks he's so good. Well, I'll show him. Boards. That's it. Help! Help! My extension cord! Where is it? That can't be a problem. What's the problem? My boards are gone! Oh no! I'm still dancing. Look at me dance. Only kilometer number 25. Only half a kilometer to go. Quick, quick. What can I do? What can I do? I can coil out my extension cord. That's what I can do. Boing, boing, boing. Boing, boing, boing. Boing, boing, boing. Boing, boing, boing. The boards. Hey, he only took part of them. Boing, boing, boing. He'll never catch me. He'll never catch me. Twinkle toes man, I'm always a winner. Oh, wait. Over there. Over that hill. What's he doing? No! I thought I got all his boards. Blast! I must have missed some. Double time jazz square. Darn thing's at it again. I'll show him. I'll just unplug him. What happened? I was going so good. Oh no, the finish line's right up there. Twinkle Toes Man is the winner! The winner, always the winner. Twinkle Toes Man, that's me. Well, it seems that we have a cheater out in the field. Yes, Barb, could you go live? Yes, Twinkle Toes Man is going to have to lose. I saw him unplug his cord. The winner is automatically Buzzsaw. Hey, what do I win? Win a lifetime supply of wood.
Well, considering that Betsy Witherspoon, his mother, works harder than anybody else does as far as assistant speech coaching goes, and considering that Jim Witherspoon is running the camera, his father, and of course you all saw Noelle a little bit ago, his sister. I think you'll probably all agree that we just need more Witherspoons. Calm down, calm down. You can chant later. Right now, do you need a chair, Lance? Okay. Okay, once again, you notice we have lots of actors this year. That's kind of unusual for us, but that's a very good thing. And here we have Lance Hoff in acting.
I didn't want to come to the school in the first place. I liked where I was, but Mom got transferred, and I've been doing everything I'm supposed to. But some of the guys want to fight or call me names, look big to their friends. They knock my books out of my hands or throw snowballs at me. So I'm in Miss Jenkins' art class, and I'm making the wooden model thing she's wanting us to make. And Bobby Clancy comes over and starts calling me a mama's boy and laughing with his friends. And I'm ignoring him, you know, just keeping my head down, working on my stupid wooden model thing. And he starts shoving me. And I look up, and Miss Jenkins ain't there. Where'd she go? She's not in the room. Look at the little fag play with his little toy. And I give him some kind of look. My mom always says, look him right in the eye and bullies will back down. But Bobby Clancy just gives me that, come on, punk, stuff. And I couldn't help laughing. He looked so stupid, like he was in a zoo and beating on his chest. That must have got to him because he picked up the model glue and squirted it right in my face. The fumes burned my eyes and some of it got into my mouth. And he just starts pointing and saying, ew, he must have gave somebody a good time. Did you give somebody a good time, you little faggot? Did you give somebody a good time, you little faggot? That's what he said to me. And I just grabbed his black jacket and I wiped my mouth off on it, smeared glue all over it. And so he hits me in the chest and yells something about that being a new coat and I was gonna pay for it. And he's raising his arm to hit me. And I just picked up my American history book and swung it with both hands. Hits him right in the face. Bloodies his nose. He fell backward and hit his head on the floor. I didn't mean for it to happen, but I think he's hurt. Miss Jenkins, she appeared out of nowhere and told me to come see you. So I backed out of the door and here I am. I can't stop shaking. I'm in trouble, aren't I? But everybody keeps pushing at me. That ain't fair, right? God, I hate this school. Why did Miss Jenkins have to leave the room? School can be hard, socially. Not everyone fits in, and they are made to pay for their differences. But coming home isn't always easier. As in my next monologue from Men Don't Leave by Paul Brinkman, Chris expresses his own feelings as well as his mother's unhappiness and state of withdrawal. Hi. Did I borrow the CD from you? That's so weird. I wonder whose it could be. Is there a place we could talk? Are you and my mother still friends? Because you don't come around too much anymore. You can, you definitely can. She's a good friend to have. She's got a good personality. Everybody likes her, everybody that knows her. She's great. So how come you don't come around much anymore? I'm sure there must be a real good reason. I know I haven't been very nice to you some of the time. But it's not that I don't like you, it's not that. It just takes me a while to get used to new people. But then when I do, I'm really friendly. I can be a lot of fun. I wasn't fun. I know that. I'm sorry. I apologize. But if you just give me another chance, you and I can be friends and get along. I can mow your lawn if you ever grow one. Because you see, my mother really likes having you as a friend. She doesn't know a lot of people out here, and I think she's getting sad again. And when she has you to talk to, she didn't seem so sad. I know I was a real pain in the ass, and I promise I won't be, if you just give me another chance. Because I really hate to see her so lonely.
Okay. And it's been short, but we're already down to our last speaker. Aww.
But it's Stephanie!
Good God, is this a Price is Right? When I first put the list up, Stephanie didn't want to go last. But I said, hey, you're a senior. And, well, she's been sick all week, too. She's been feeling kind of bad. But, aw, yes, the sympathy there, aw. But I said, look, you're a senior, and this is really funny. And it's nice, it's very important to have all the dramatic stuff. But we want to send them away happy. And you did a beautiful... Okay, Sarah doesn't want to send you home happy. I don't know. That's sorry. That was Jessica. I'm sorry. From this angle, it's kind of like you're on her lap and the little, you know, you move your mouth and she speaks. But anyway, this is this category. Is as much as I'd love to just stand here and talk with you all day. This category is after dinner speaking, and the purpose of an after dinner speech is to entertain. And so the speaker has to come up with a group of people to address, and then come up with a point to make in that address, and then hopefully make it kind of funny. This will be easy for you. Excuse me, I'm supposed to announce you.
Yeah, there we go.
Stephanie Hetty, after dinner speaking.
I'd like to welcome you all this evening to the Intelligent Blondes of America Ladies induction ceremonies. I've been asked to come up here tonight by our fine President Winona to talk to you a little about looking and sounding intelligent. But first, a little about me. My name's Stephanie. I'm a quirky blonde Sagittarius who likes long walks on the beaches and who hates sushi. I have a PhD in doctorology, and I'm currently the vice president of this fine organization, the Intelligent Blondes of America. Now, when you think of the intelligent blonde image, think Barbara Walters or Connie Chung. When you get up in the morning, don't be afraid to let your hair down. We're not the intelligent brunettes of America. We're the intelligent blondes of America. So wear your hair with pride. Now, when I see someone walking down the street and they're all hunched over and their heads are hanging down, I don't think that's an intelligent blonde. I can tell you that. So you need to stand with your feet about shoulder width apart, with your shoulders back and your head up, as if to say, I'm better than you because you can see up my nose. Now, gesticulations, one of my favorite words, might I add, come in very useful when talking about anything. You can just start gesticulating like so, and you could be talking about anything from nuclear physics to gummy bears, and you can look like the most intelligent person in the room. Now, sometimes people start talking like, kind of like this, with their voice going up at the end, and they start twirling their hair, and it gets really annoying. They start losing track of what they're talking about, and then... Oh, sorry. So what you need to do is just lower your voice a couple octaves so you sound a little bit more sophisticated. Now, I was out in the hallway down there, and I was talking to a woman about some very important matters, and I mentioned the word ammonium xylenyl sulfate, which is a very common ingredient in shampoo. The very shampoo that she had been using for 20 years. And I thought to myself, how could a woman who's been shampooing her hair for 20 years not know the most common ingredient in her shampoo? So, my suggestion to you is to read your shampoo bottles. I don't want you to be afraid of using terms that are Shakespearean, such as my favorite. Instead of, where are my pants? You can say, wherefore have my pants gone? You tell me which one sounds more intelligent. Now, when getting out of work, and you call in and you say, I have the flu. That never works. Face it, it's just flu. They're going to make you come in. So here's what you do. Oh, Maggie, I can't come in. I have severe cephalitis, and I can't move my pancreas. And my sacrum, it hurts really bad. If that doesn't work, I don't know what will. Now, current events, you should not only be up to date on your vocabulary, such as chlorofluoromonoxide, but you should also keep up on your environmental information. Think about the whales. You can always do something for the whales. Think about all the things that whales have done for us, but what have you done for them? I mean, they've made leaps and bounds in the cosmetics industry. All right, onward. In section 12.986, it expressly states that members of the Intelligent Blondes of America are not supposed to tell jokes. Blonde jokes. Not just jokes, blonde jokes. That's Clause B. So I heard someone telling a joke out in the hallway. I don't want anyone telling blonde jokes, except for this one, because this one's really good. Okay. All right. Why did the blonde cross the road? Anybody? Anybody? I don't know, I'm blonde. All right. Now I want everyone stand up. Everyone, come on, stand up. Now, raise your right hand, your other right, and put your left hand over your heart, and repeat after me. I, the Intelligent Blondes of America, do ordain to establish blondness, and intelligence, for which it stands, Amen. You may be seated. And now I think our President Winona has a few words to say about changing the motto. I think it's going to be something like, Intelligent Blondes of America, we only think when we have to be.
I think we've come full circle, and it's duly noted that she did leave out the words under God. Thank you all for coming, and hopefully we'll see some of these same performances at Allstate. Allstate.